also do something extraordinary for Hollywood, because this is a whole new trajectory for Hollywood, especially given what happened last year.
I hope so. Look, Hollywood is slow to wake up to a lot of things, but at least the opportunity is there. We are, in light of what we may see as the dominant issue or problem, we are still living in an extraordinary time where we have the opportunity to create something like this. I mean, much like what the story represents, we still have a lot to fight for, and we're going to keep fighting. That's just, look, this is the nature of life. But I believe we can bypass Hollywood and look to everybody's boss, which is the audience, and understand that the audience is ready for this. The audience craves this, they want it, which is the only reason why we got something like this made, because the audience is far more intelligent than what most people give them credit for. They're far more hungry and ready because they are far more awake than what most people give them credit for. This is why y'all are sitting in these seats right now. Thank you.
And I just wanted to say also, it's really, I think, very important and very powerful that we're addressing this crowd at the National Association of Black Journalists. Because if it weren't for the work of Black journalists at the Norfolk Journal and Guide, at the Baltimore Afro-American, at the Pittsburgh Courier, I would never have been able to do the research for this book. So much of the source material came from articles talking about, you know, when the first of this group of colored computers went and took their jobs at Langley. It talked about Dorothy Vaughan leaving her teaching post in Farmville to come and, you know, go to Hampton. I mean, I cannot even tell you the debt that this book owes to Black journalism. Telling the stories, reporting the everyday details of these extraordinary, ordinary people. So, you know, for me to come here and to talk about this book in front of a crowd of people who made the source material possible and who are carrying on that tradition, it's just, you know, I mean, it couldn't be a better place to talk about this, because it simply would not have been possible without the hard work and the sharp eyes of Black journalists over the years.
And how did you discover the story? How did it become so hidden, and how did you uncover it?
You know, I think it was hidden. It really was hidden in plain sight. I discovered it, and my sister's here. We grew up in Hampton, Virginia. We knew our dad, now retired, is a research scientist. He worked at NASA. He worked with a lot of these ladies. We, in our community, there were, you know, Black engineers, Black scientists, female mathematicians and scientists. So we grew up with these women as members of our community, and we knew that they worked there at NASA. But, you know, they were people at church, they were Girl Scout leaders, and they were totally normal. So to a certain extent, it's kind of the best possible way for a story like this to hide, which is that we thought it was kind of a normal thing. And, you know, in conversations with like my siblings and, you know, other people who grew up in Hampton, it was like, well, we just thought it was sort of kind of the way it was. And you go away from home and you learn that, well, there was an extraordinary circumstance happening. And it was really my husband, who was not from there, who, you know, a few years back when we were there and my dad was talking about some of these women, was like, do you realize, like, what an extraordinary thing it was to have grown up there with these women around you in that circumstance? And, you know, I think a lot of times it takes an outside perspective to show you how valuable something that you know, just take for granted actually is.
And you use the